Oh, I ain't shuffle the cards. Hi, we're very basic today. Red and orange got the base chakras. Now, the red color was not planned, but I do remember a certain first chakra card appearing in the energy oracle cards. I was thinking enchanted something. It started with an E. I guess I wasn't enchanted energy, not too far off. Anyway, we're gonna do angels and alchemy today. Why? I don't know. The sun is officially in Taurus, and I am so excited. I am so excited. Like, I was ready for Pisces season to be over because Pisces season was a lot. Pisces season was a lot this year. It was like in my mind, it was like a pinball. It was like being in a pinball machine, but the ball was invisible. And so I'm just like, it's just stuff going like bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, okay. So we're just gonna tap into our flow space, tap into that, whatever you call the space where it's just like, I'm here, the space of existence. And then Aries season, it was different for me. It was different for an Aries season. Um, Aries season had an interesting start and an interesting finish, and there was a little bit of a twist in the middle. Um, and honestly, personally, I feel like y'all know when I was like Chiron is Chironing, so they're not necessarily limiting beliefs, but I find myself in a space of recognizing certain not necessarily productive ways of being, but I'm at the point now where I don't have to allow it to, like, I'm not allowing it to affect my decision making, and so I'm not personally like making a big deal out of it, or I'm not making a big deal of it. If this is girl, oh, it's not okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, she's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Um, so when I was like Chiron is Chironing, but the working work is like seeing me through, like that's what I'm talking about. Like I've been in this position enough, more to factio, truth. I've been in this position enough where it's like I can choose different, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I'm not still having like certain doubts or questions or whatever, but I'm not allowing it to sway what it is that I'm doing. Because if I've learned anything in the past few years, it's that I don't really truly know what I'm capable of. And if I continue the way that I was continuing, I will never find out. So I just like wash my hair. I still need a retwist. I'm like, girl. And I don't want to tie it up because when I tie it up when it's wet, the part that's tied up like doesn't dry. Even if like I don't know how the drying works. Cause it's like if the part under the tie no. I was like, maybe I should so it retains the moisture a little longer. It's fine. Anyway. It's just gonna be like all over today. But yeah. And it's interesting how I don't know, it's fine. I've talked about me enough. This is how to be a heartbreaker. Was there like a little danger? I'm going to use the Angelarium year 2. And we're going to get an angel and then we'll get an alchemy. I kind of want to do 3. This Well, no, I'll probably still do like Sun and the. We'll see. Probably, I'll probably still do like, excuse me, Sun and Taurus like tomorrow or later today or in this exact same video. I don't know. All I know is I want to do angels and alchemy, and I want to have three angels, each sort of presiding over a certain alchemical whatever. And it's like, what is that angel like assisting with? What are they requiring? What is their expertise? I don't know. But exciting times lay ahead. Exciting times lie ahead. I am ready for Jupiter and Uranus to do whatever it is that they're doing. It's at like 20 degrees, isn't it? It's getting closer and closer to my little Taurus moon. All right. So I want three different ones. I'll take at the most two angels. Like if something is a collaborative effort, or if there's an overlap between two different angels. And the context of this is, I don't know. There's our two angels. Oh, look, the angel of Taurus came out. Asmodel, angel of Taurus. Angel of Taurus and the angel of dreams. Which is interesting. I mean, angel of dreams, I would assume Pisces, because dreams, you know, Pisces, dreams, Neptune makes sense. And I know that there is the fairly loose-ish. There is a sextile between the loose-ish conjunction between Saturn and Mars and Pisces, and Jupiter exactly conjuncting Uranus and Taurus tomorrow. Now, I guess the sun was like, Jupiter and Uranus conjunction. I need to be there, obviously. And it's interesting. Well, maybe it's not that interesting. The sun was just exalted in Aries. I feel like I'm like cut off. The sun was just exalted in Aries. And angel of Cancer. What is going on with Cancer? Muriel, angel of Cancer, just like made a little bit of noise. And then the angel of the waning moon at the top. And the gate of Sahakiel is behind that, with the angel of the mists and the angel of silence behind that. There's been a whole bunch of Cancerian energy coming out lately. Azazel, angel of sacrifices, is the second, and then the third is 3. Oof, I can't do 3. I'm sorry. 4. Angel of the written word, angel of lightning, angel of Aries, and the angel of... Oh, Aries. It was just Aries season. And the angel of silence again is at the top of the deck. Okay, last one is Vanuel, angel of truth. I'll leave it like this because it came out that way. Bottom of the deck is Varakiel, angel of lightning. Top of the deck is Samyaza, pride. All hail, firstborn, giver of names, father of giants, protector of the house of man. Long shall be his days. The angel of pride, and then behind the angel of pride is the angel of war. And then the angel of shadows. I never see this angel anymore. Like when I first started using this deck, I would see this angel all the time. Under Barakiel is both Penemues. Wow. The angel of the written word twice. And then the angel of storms under that. See, this is interesting, especially this one, because the angel of lightning, it's like, I don't know if that's necessarily lightning. It's too curvy and smooth. What hath been wrought across the fiery hilltop, these sculptures of men whose names the angels forgot? And then the angels of pride war in shadows at the top of the deck. Okay. Now let's get an alchemy for these angels. Ooh. Okay. One. We're doing one. One alchemy per angel. Also grab the Norse, Idrisil Norse divination cards. I don't know why. I felt compelled, and so I did. Lest I have to get back up. Okay. Only one alchemy card. Two is pushing it. I will accept two. I prefer one. Any more than two or less than one. And we will keep shuffling. Okay. So Xanthosis Yellowing came out face up, number 14. And then another one slid out face down. And I haven't looked at it yet. Under the Angels of Dreams and the Angel of Taurus. Now, what's interesting is this. So there was like 4 cards that came out. Ouroboros was at the top. And we have this snake that is positioned suspiciously close to a tail. This, an egg came out recently. Was it the unborn? I remember getting the visual image of the eggs in Pokemon when the eggs are about to hatch, how they shake. And we can see the cracks in these eggs, the cracks in this egg, as if it's about to hatch. So maybe the snake just released its tail. So the way it's playing out in my mind is like there's this thin snake, this real thin snake, little snake, giant egg. And it's almost like in order this, it's like the snake knows that in order to get this egg to hatch, it has to maintain almost constant contact with it. And it's like, if it doesn't maintain constant contact, then it makes it even less likely that little itty bitty snake can provide enough warmth or whatever for the egg. And so to ensure that even when it's asleep, that it doesn't like fall off of the egg, it bites its own tail. And it bites its own tail until it can tell, or until it knows that this egg is about to hatch, because you don't want to choke whatever is hatching, but you do want to incubate the egg. You don't want to smother it. Excuse me. Interesting. I think there are 2 Azazels in here. Angel of Sacrifices. What is your alchemy? Like Mortifactio, death. I could see something like evaporation. I could see a card flipped over. One card. Who's Ooh, no! Pluton, or Ploton. Pluto is the alchemy of Azazel, angel of sacrifices. Okay. And then what is the alchemy of Phanuel, angel of truth, is face down. I saw a flash of red, and then it touched the table. The bottom of the deck is the sun. We got the sun on one side and the angel of pride. Because it's the angel of pride, it gives me Leo, and Leo gives me the sun, and then here's the sun. The sun is moving into Taurus. We have the angel of Taurus here. I think I'm going to read these from left to right, and then we'll go back. So I'm going to start with the face-up card of Xanthosis. Excuse me. I'm going to start with the face-up card of Xanthosis, Duma and Asmodel, Angels of Dreams in Taurus. And then I'm going to go to the Pluton of Azazel, Angel of Sacrifices. Then I'm going to turn over the Alchemy of Phanuel, and then I'm going to go back down and turn over the second Alchemy of Taurus and this Angel of Dreams. So I'm going to move y'all up here for now. I'm going to move y'all front and center. Duma, Angel of Dreams, languishing aloft, the master of dreams rests in repose. Among the stars it makes its nest, swathed in silver and gold. An untold truth is to be spoken aloud, lost to the chiming of a bell. That's hilarious. I only laugh because I've talked about these dreams I've been having where it's like something is repeated in a dream so that I'll remember when I wake up. But when I wake up, it's like when I'm on the verge of waking up, I'm like, there's no way I'll forget. Like, I know. But when I actually wake up and when I open my eyes, it's gone. It's not that it's completely like, it's more like when I'm asleep, it makes sense. And when I'm awake, it doesn't. When I'm awake, I'm like, I don't know what this means. I feel like I'm so close today. Like I went from like this being up here in the video, like up here in this corner to like being down here. Let's see. It's fine. There we go. An untold truth is to be spoken aloud, lost to the chiming of a bell. Silver and gold is also giving me Hierophant energy because the key of silver and the key of gold. And then we have Asmodel, Angel of Taurus. Taurus is corresponds with the Hierophant in the tarot. Now, with the well-known alchemy, we know that gold has a correspondence to the sun. But also, gold is that which resists the antimony. It resists the eating away of antimony. And then silver eternally shines in second place. It'll tarnish if you don't polish it. But there was something, I'm watching this anime, and there's someone, it's very imperial, and they're in the rear palace, and there's someone who is a taste tester for one of the concubines of the emperor. And to make sure that, the empress are they're not empresses, to make sure that the concubines don't die, I guess, so that they're not poisoned. And there's a test before the person becomes whatever. And she was like, you should use silver eatery because it tarnishes. And it was just that connection of like, oh, like, because before that I had read sometime, it wasn't immediately before, but it was like, since silver tarnishes, we think that there is something less valuable about it. And I guess this is interesting, as like I talked about how there are still some like thoughts that may surface or resurface whenever it's time for me to do something, but I don't allow them to stop me anymore, because I've learned that, again, what do I know? But anyway, it's like, because it tarnishes, there's something, it's almost like we view silver as less valuable. But it's that very same property of silver that can be an indicator of something that's not right in the environment, right? It can be an indicator of like, oh, the silver is tarnished, it's poisoned. That's what I took away from it. Okay. So it's swathed in silver and gold, which makes it almost like very human. Not necessarily human. Hey David, how you doing today? And then we have the yellowing of xanthosis. Asphodel, angel of Taurus, to stay steady, enjoying a moment of reprise is not selfish. A breath that takes us back to our center is essential. We must respect the anchor that holds our feet to the ground. When we do this, we wield a strength that can push back against the spin of the world. Asmodel is there, the embodiment of the focus and dedication we hold when we make a commitment, a moment of clarity grasped in a closed fist. Interesting. And I was talking about, the red and the orange are very basic today. Base chakras. And then we have the anchoring that holds our feet to the ground. The roots. Rest and repose, a moment of reprise. Maybe I will use the Yggdrasil Norse, because this tree is almost giving me Yggdrasil world tree type energy. We also saw Sariel, Angel of the Waning Moon. I guess it was at the bottom of the deck. Angel of Shadows, Angel of Deception, Angel of Visions. So the top 5 angels, the angels at the top of the deck, are the angels from closer to the top to closer to the bottom. Angel of Pride, Angel of War, Angel of Shadows, Angel of Deception, and the Angel of Visions. I don't know where Sariel was. I don't remember. But it's the moon in Duma. That makes me think of Sariel. Now, Asmodel, Angel of Taurus, is tall enough that he reaches from the stars where Duma makes its nest to the ground. I'm trying to think of what zodiac sign I would think of as manifesting. Maybe Capricorn because it's cardinal Earth. Like this is interesting for Taurus, and maybe it is the I mean, Taurus does trine. Okay, I think that came out. Taurus sextiles Pisces and trines Virgo, like Capricorn. So it's almost like to get something to move from a fluid dream to a fluid reality, uh, uh, a mile marker, I guess, in that journey to help overcome that opposition, but either be Capricorn or Taurus. Virgo can make the trine to Taurus and then the sextile to Pisces, or Pisces can make the sextile to Taurus and then trine over to Pisces, or trine over to Virgo. But I guess I'm not. It's almost in the sensuality of Taurus. I'm not surprised that it is harmonious to Pisces. Like if you think of the Empress and Empress, or anyone very like Venusian who was like, who basically kind of sort of gets catered to. It's almost like their life would be this almost Piscean dream, almost this Neptunian fantasy. Anything that they wish or desire is brought to them. Interesting. Interesting. 1 second. One second. Sorry. Okay. Time is of the essence, you see. Xanthosis, yellowing, aging, transitioning, and warning. Before I do that, I mean, world tree energy has been heavy, aging, transitioning, and warning. I don't, the energy has been out here, present, of some of the branches of the world tree falling, or the world tree sort of going through some kind of process of reorganization. Don't ask me what it means. Don't ask me what any of the energies lately mean. We got it's crazy. The energies are crazy. I almost wonder if that is what allows some things to kind of should happen though. Spirit of lightning. Reida. She's the eighth uh, deity in the eighth realm. And the angel of lightning is at the bottom of the deck. Let's get one of these. Thank you. Aimnir, the spirit of fire, who is the fourth in the eighth realm of Muspelheim. Bottom of the deck is dog. Clarity and novelty. So, novelty and fire is giving me invention. And then it's taking me to fire. And it takes me to Prometheus, which takes me to his punishment. And it's like Prometheus had transgressed against the gods because he gave fire to man. And so my brain is like, I mean, we have fire and it doesn't make us any more godly. You know what I mean? Like, well, we can cook now, we can have light in the dark, and we can have warmth in the cold. But besides that, like, but it's like, what if it wasn't? Maybe it was like how Prometheus had given fire to man, almost as if Prometheus had taught man the process of invention because it was to create a fire. Like Prometheus had taught man how to create fire. But that little, like that simple act of whatever, it's almost like it was the impetus or the spark that led man to create many, many, many things. Maybe it was before then, men didn't know that they were man, didn't know humanity, mankind at the time, didn't know that it was capable of creation, that it was capable of invention. And that was what had really shifted things. Because now, instead of being dependent upon the gods for whatever, there are now certain things that man can create. You don't have to pray to the god of fire that your something combusts. You can get the flint, the tinder, and you start a campfire. I guess it's also interesting that the spirit of fire is here because there's the story of like warming the egg. We've seen the spirit of fire and the spirit of lightning. Interesting. Clarity and novelty. I'm gonna read Aimnir first. Kvasir was at the bottom of the deck or was under Rada. And Kvasir is in the same realm. Kvasir is the sixth in the eighth realm. So we've had the eighth and the sixth, the eighth in the eighth realm, the sixth in the eighth realm, and now the fourth in the eighth realm. Interesting. Aenir is the personification of fire. He is one of the sons of Muspel, whose flames engulf the world at Ragnarok. Aenir's energy can be very useful, but it's a precarious one. His presence in the spread points to an abundance of volatile energy and indicates that care is needed. Aimnir's connotations don't have to be fearsome, though. The spirit of fire is energy, creativity, and a great appetite for fuel, whatever that fuel may be. The seeker needs to be particularly aware of this energy in them or in their surroundings, and to not let it out of control, or it can lead to a downfall. However, if this energy is harnessed, it is a great asset to have. Look closely at the cards around and the placement of Aimnir in the spread to determine the right course of action. Aimnir is also an influence on the cards around him. He brings this energy to the spread and to the cards closest to him and to where he is placed in the spread. Interesting. Well, you don't want to cook the egg. We don't want to cook the egg. I wonder if this is us. I wonder if there's something in our lives. Like I haven't read the face down. I haven't read the face down alchemy for this pair of angels, but like it feels like the hatching is happening in Taurus season. So I don't know if like during Aries season where the sun was exalted, or if there's something to do with Mars, because we want just enough heat to incubate the egg, but we don't want so much that will cook it. Unless the egg is sterile, in which case, if we're going to eat it, then maybe we do want to cook it, take it as a residence. Maybe it depends on what kind of egg it is. But according to the metaphor that we're running right now, this is something that we want to hatch. And so it's almost like showing the right amount of interest. It's almost like having the right amount of desire. It's like if you want something, make it known, because you don't want whoever to feel like you're disinterested. But also at the same time, you may not necessarily have wanted to devote too much energy and effort to something, to give it too much attention if it weren't yet time for anything to be done with it. It's like baking or cooking. You don't necessarily, like if it's a slow roast, if you put something in like a crock pot for 8 hours, you don't have to necessarily check on it every 10 minutes. Like, you know, it's going to take 8 hours. You do want to like set it to the right temperature and make sure you got everything in it. But once you have everything there, you just sort of like leave it and let it cook. To give something too much attention sometimes can be harmful, and to give something not enough can also be just as harmful. Xanthosis, yellowing, indicating transition. The yellowing leads us into the next phase of our alchemical work. Envision the yellowing as pages of a beloved novel, or the ochre blanket of leaves in fall. This card seeps out to signify the beginning of the end, a return to zero. Even a deep bruise finds a yellow tint as it reaches its final phases of healing. In contrast, yellow can be the marker of long-awaited growth, as seen in the first rays of the sun, and the cheer of Forsythia in February. Whatever its message, yellowing tells the truth. It leads us forward, like the vibrant canary in the mine, warning of what's to come. Take heed. The transition is here, whether by yoke or bile. How to respond is up to you. It is likely you already know. And then we have that sign right here, the first yellowing rays of the sun. Cool. This is interesting. I mean, transition, when we have Uranus conjuncting Taurus, Uranus conjuncting Jupiter and Taurus, or just having Uranus and Taurus in general. This is interesting. Aimnir, the spirit of fire, is asking us to have some kind of temperance. Number 14 is anthosis. 14 is temperance in the tarot. I feel like I never hear people talk about how temperance is a 5. It's so interesting that temperance is a 5, because it doesn't necessarily have the same chaotic energy as a lot of other 5s tend to possess. And in that measure, the kings would also be 5s, wouldn't they? Because they're 14. Right? You got the 10 and the 11 is the page, 12 is the knight, 13 is the queen, and the kings are 14. What makes 14 any different than a 5 or a 23 or a 32 or a 50? Because even 23s and 32s and 50s and 49s, there's something about the 14. It's like different. Maybe it carries the same energy of change, but it does so over a period of time that is long enough that it can be easy to not notice. It's like the difference between being with somebody every day for 10 years and like seeing them and then 10 years later seeing them again, especially if they're young. It's like when you see every step in between, the change is so seamless. It's almost like sometimes your brain doesn't necessarily catch it until it hits you. But with that gap, with that chasm, to go from one to the other, it's like it's more extreme. So it's something that's very like integral, not necessarily integral, but it's giving me like an integral in math. How you observe something as it shifts, changes, transitions, and transforms. Like an infinitely small integrals, because you can have an integral and evaluate it, a smaller integral. That makes it a lot smoother. So it has that 5 energy, but it's not necessarily as abrupt or quick or in your face. Excuse me. Sometimes we see temperance and we think that nothing is happening at all. So next we have Azazel, angel of sacrifices. Tonight we pour the water from our bowls, the warmth from our hearts, and the breath from our flock. We bring an end to these necessities, not for their destruction, but in their honor. For in their absence, we can truly see their glory. Now this, I think it reminded me of Aimnir, or it reminded me of something. Excuse me, because Aimnir gets like, not Aimnir, because Azazel, it reminds me of fire. It does remind me of Aimnir. Prometheus, more specifically. Like Prometheus gave fire to man, and then Prometheus was punished. And in the other Azazel card, it talked about how Azazel taught man how to hunt so that they could survive. But then man started hunting things that weren't necessarily like animals that they needed to eat to survive. Men started to hunt each other for whatever reasons and started to hunt other folk for other reasons. And then everybody blamed Azazel because it was like, well, you're the one that taught them how to do that. Now look at what they're doing. Pluton, number 10. Let's see. Pluto is in Aquarius. So about to retrograde at some point, May 2nd. Taurus season. The underworld, power, and compulsion. Pluto's realm is one of deep and undeniable power. Known as the planet of the underworld, Pluto has a captivating effect that pulls us into its depths, leading to all things excessive and Dionysian in nature. Images of the resurrection, possession, the sacred heart, birth, sex, and death are all symbols of Pluto's volatile energy. So we get volatile energy, and then we get something leading to all things in excess. She's giving Aimir, but the Aimir that is the consuming fire, not necessarily the Aimir that is the warming campfire, or the growth light for the plant, or the incubator for the egg. And Amir also mentioned volatile energy. When this card shows up, know that everything will be amplified as if through a live wire. It's all about power, and maybe even addiction. Though Pluto's force field can be ruthless, this tiny planet pushes us toward necessary growth. When we follow its mesmerizing pulse, we are taken into the depths to be changed. There's no point in pretending the underworld is not at work. Admit that you're in it and find the support you need. Not making it worse is a big accomplishment. To ponder the miracle of small things. To go deeper, it says watch the movie Labyrinth, which is interesting because I've never seen Labyrinth, but this is like the second time within the past few days that movie has come up now. I watched a video the other day, and it was one of those FMK videos. Right? Would you rather spend a night with whoever, the rest of your nights with whoever, or not a single second with whoever? And the David Bowie in Pan's Labyrinth was one of the people. Or David Bowie in Labyrinth was one of the people. And I've never seen Labyrinth, but I know that David Bowie's in it. I've seen GIF sets on the internet. Okay. Anyway. The box came out yesterday. The box is maze-like, labyrinthian in nature. Yeah. Okay. I feel like there's an interesting question here. We bring an end to these necessities not for their destruction, but in their honor. For in their absence, we can truly see their glory. There's something here. Pluto is power. His power is power. That's what the entry from the book is saying. Pluto, it's about power. I feel like the Azazel spin on it is almost like power for what or power for why. There are many people who seek power. But why do they seek power? And what do they aim to do with it? Those two questions. For what purpose do we seek power? I guess that's one question. Well, no, it could still be two questions. For what purpose do we seek power? and what do we wish to do with it? I think sometimes there are things that we seek, but what we end up doing with it doesn't necessarily align with why we sought it, right? Like it's like, I want power to provide safety for me and my family. And then what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to go out and I'm going to attack our attackers or whatever. Now, in a certain short minded way, that would make sense. But in the long term, the one who would do that would harbor so much like animosity or fear or whatever from others that they would actually put them and their family at more risk and more harm and more danger because they transgress more and more and more against others. So that's a way in which that is an example in which we would go about something in a way that doesn't lead to the fulfillment of our desire in the seeking of it. We sought power to protect our family, but we mishandled our power in such a way that our family is actually at more risk and more harm and more danger. And not only that, but we upset the karmic scales in a way that when justice comes in, we don't give ourselves a winning case, right? Pluto being the underworld is also interesting because we just saw transitioning. When Pluto goes back into Capricorn, it's going to make a trine to Uranus and Taurus. The trine is going to get stronger as it retrogrades back into Capricorn between Pluto and Uranus. So there's going to be between Pluto and Capricorn, Neptune and Pisces, and Uranus and Taurus. There's going to be that trine with the sextile in it between the three outermost planets in our solar system: Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Saturn will still be in Pisces. So that's the outer four. Jupiter, by that point, will be in Gemini, I'm sure. So 4 of the outer planets will be in that sextile trine. But I guess, was it Aries season? Was it Aries season? Pisces? I've read so many transits I don't remember. Because I did the Pluto conjunction between Mars and Venus, and then Mars and Venus conjuncting each other, kind of sort of. In Aquarius, I did Mars and Venus transiting into Pisces, and then Venus and Aries. I did the Sun transiting. There was something somewhere. I feel like there was an energy of something that was starting somewhere, but it may not have necessarily been seen. Like a seed that was planted somewhere in Aries. And now we see an egg that is at least on the verge of hatching in Taurus, but also on Leap Day, when I did the first reading, there was something. I think the sustainer came out in reverse with the sustainer came out with this starborn. And the sustainer force was keeping whatever inside of the egg because the environment wasn't right. And that was the crone that thought she was going to take it. For what purpose do we seek power? Or for what purpose do we seek anything for that matter? Anything that we think will make our lives better. For what purpose do we seek it? And to what aim? What are we going to do with it? And I feel like, again, it's in that something that isn't done for destruction, but in their honor, which kind of sort of it's a short leap to that energy of like that's been out lately of like there's a difference between destruction for the purpose of creation or destruction that makes room for creation and pointless destruction. And that came out in the last booster pack of Dungeons and Dragons. That was Sivris, the nightmare speaker. It was when the balance was upset. And destruction for the purpose of personal gain. Where does that fit? There was an episode of Charmed, like with the OG cast. On the it's on the screen every now and then when I go to the gym. But I think it was around the time that Phoebe lost her powers. I can't remember exactly why, but I feel like she used her powers for personal gain or something like that, and she lost them. It's on that window. They go up there and they chirp. Why? I don't know. But Pluto was about to retrograde. Which is interesting. I wish I knew what was going on the last time Pluto trined Uranus. Because Uranus and Taurus, Pluto and Capricorn can definitely be some kind of upset. One second. Something sometimes just ain't right. I'm kidding. My intuition has low key kind of sort of been on one. And I don't even know if it's okay, this is kind of sort of an aside. I don't even know if it's necessarily my intuition. Like, I'm navigating a change in my life right now. And I was talking to my mom about a potential. And I was like, I hope it works out. And she was like, you hope? And I was like, yeah, I hope. And she was like, you're not going to like claim it. You're not going to like manifest it or whatever. And I was like, no, but I hope I get it. And she was like, why not? And I was like, I don't know. I don't feel, there was something in me that didn't want to claim it, that didn't want to manifest it. And then the next day, I do like, or that night, I do a little bit more research. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this other option is the one that I really want. Like, that's the one that I'll claim. But there was something, I don't know, there was a reason why I didn't want to claim it, even when I thought I wanted it. Because now I'm like, oh, I would much, much, much rather prefer this other one. Please. I don't know, anyway. Back to this. You know what's also coming into mind? The silver and gold of Duma. The silver and gold of Duma because of the silver. It's almost like there are times we know that great power comes with great responsibility. But I feel like we don't often, I feel like there aren't necessarily as many axioms, or I don't hear it as much around the wisdom that's required to exercise great power wisely, effectively, efficiently. See, she's almost giving me tiger energy rather than the lion. And I think that's the importance of silver. Silver comes in those times where it's not necessarily for us to make a full show. Like silver comes in a time where it is for us to tarnish a little bit, for us to lose, or for us to experience some kind of challenge or whatever. Because we only know a piece, part, and fragment, and because some things can be delicate. And if we're always in gold, if we're always in that victor or whatever mentality, when we don't make room for those moments in which life happens, the mysterious ways that the divine works in, or intertwining in a situation or whatever, when we become unyielding against a greater force, we basically dash ourselves against the rocks. Because sometimes there are greater forces at play. There are things that are meant to happen that will happen. There are certain things that are unavoidable. I feel like there are a lot of things that are avoidable, but a lot of those things we realize may have been avoidable in hindsight. And if they're only seen as avoidable in hindsight, then how avoidable are they really? I don't know. I'm curious which Ananiel this is, Angel of Storms. As the sun began to set, the boats turned to back towards the shore. All the while, Ananiel pleaded with them to stay. Ignoring him, the fishermen held to their course. Angered, the angel summoned the waves to do what his words could not. He wrenched their boats from their destination and pulled them until the land was lost to the horizon. In life, these first seafarers had been his acolytes. In death, they were their own men. And that's the one that's right next to what hath been brought across the fiery hilltop, these sculptures of men whose names the angels forgot. Yeah, that's the Ananiel where like they didn't listen, they didn't yield when it was for them to yield. And again, it's like it's this fire. There's something about desire, which is like it's because of stuff like that where sometimes it's better to not desire anything, especially until we reach the point where we can desire things in balance. If that makes sense. And sometimes it requires more strength or it requires more power to not do something sometimes. It depends. Sometimes it requires more strength to speak up. Sometimes it requires more strength to remain silent when it is for one to remain silent. So then we come to Phanuel, angel of truth. This most patient attendant will wait for your arrival. Phanuel has been here long before you arrived, standing in the gateway to the throne. You may not have seen it, you may not have heard it, but Phanuel waited there for you to wrap you in its warm cloak. Seek it and you shall find it. Now, what's interesting is that we have Semyaza, angel of pride. Semyaza is the one that has claimed the throne. Oh, look, there's a lion. I was like, she's giving me Leo energy because of pride and pride lions, you know? And then it's literally, there's the lion right there. Anyway, So the face down alchemy of Phanuel is their number 17, which is the star, which corresponds to the star. Spring. Wow, we are in the season of spring. Spring has indeed sprung. My allergies will tell you about as much. All the fresh cut grass. It's like, oh my gosh. Do we really need to mow 3 times a week? Like, can I breathe? I'm kidding. Blossoming, becoming, and the horizon. Spring is the horizon. I know Phanuel just mentioned, or not Phanuel, Ananiel mentioned the horizon. Angered, the angel summoned the waves to do what his words could not. He wrenched their boats from their destination and pulled them until the land was lost to the horizon. But I feel like we saw horizon somewhere in context to the sun. Maybe. Now this mentions fall. First rays of the sun in the Chura Forsythia in February. What about Pluto? I don't think Pluto mentioned the horizon. I thought something else mentioned the horizon too. It's fine. When spring arrives, our eyes lift from the work and we peer out the window of our laboratory. We realize Earth has been in its own transformational spin, readying itself for a new era of growth. In a state of wonder, the alchemist sets aside the work of winter and opens the door, stepping into spring. When this card arrives, it indicates a blossoming, a coming into one's own. It's generation time. You may be dreaming up a business plan, humming a new melody, or flirting with a special someone. Spring is the season of the East, where the sun rises and lights the world. You do not have to work on anything during this phase. Let the energy of the season push through. You made it through winter, and the bulbs burst on their own. Interesting, guy. The budding carrying over to the hatching of the Sadic. Okay. No, Xanthos is this face down. The budding giving me the hatching of the Sadic. Also, we see the sun again. Also, dreaming. Also, Taurus. Something in Taurus. Oh, Asmodel. Where is it? We must respect the anchor that holds our feet to the ground. When we do this, we wield a strength that can push back against the spin of the world. Both of these mention a spin. In a state of wonder, the alchemist sets aside the work of winter and opens the door, stepping into spring. When this card arrives, okay. Here it is. We realize Earth has been in its own transformational spin, readying itself for a new era of growth. Excuse me. And then we see the lion here, strength, the lion's arrow. I think they have a relationship. They got a good relationship. Well, Semyaza isn't trying to force the lion to do anything. The lion recognizes Semyaza. Interesting. This makes sense. Hello. I am enjoying this Friday for one very important reason. I'm here with all of you. That's why. How you doing, Holly? This makes sense. So there's a new season when the throne is claimed. Maybe that's why like the work of winter is over when we meet Phanuel at the throne. It's like life becomes different. It's like the fool after it's like the fool after the end of the journey. The fool travels from the magician to the world. But after the world, like the fool keeps living life, but it doesn't live life in the way that it has to learn something from all of the majors or whatever. Everything that it needed to learn, it has already learned. And it's almost granted a new existence. And it's interesting that the angel of sacrifices is here with Pluto, which is about power. And that again, there's the tie back to the silver, where one doesn't always have to be standing at the top or whatever. And it feels like if one feels that way for whatever reason, then it makes it easier for their volatile energy to become overly consuming with Amir, the spirit of fire. And I guess then it's a question of what is the nature of fire, or what is the nature of fire within oneself? Is it the nature of fire to expand and consume, or is it the nature of fire to warm and to grow? Now, lastly, but never leastly, woo! Splendor Solus, number 53, which is our first number outside of the 1 to 21 or 1 to 22 of the tarot. 53, Splendor Solus, Sun's Splendor. Love that. Not only because the sun is at the bottom, not only because the tail of the peacock is under the sun, and I keep looking at it every time I pick up the sun, but also because I was looking at these 5 things in spring, but they're all the same color. But in this, we see that like they've taken on their own colors. Excuse me, and their position much the same. We have the gold of the sun and the gold of, sorry, I put the wrong card down. We have the gold of the sun and the gold of Pluto here. We see two golds, two orbs of gold on the table. One in the palm of the sun, one on the outer palm of Pluto. We see the sun as gold, and then on the outermost ring or in the outermost rings is that gold. Now it looks like it crosses 3 bands. So that the outermost 3, again, it's Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. So even there, we see the golden Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And then, of course, the gold of the sun. Because Neptune is late 20. I mean, Uranus is like 20 degrees. It ain't necessarily like a late. But within 10 degrees, if we give a generous, whatever. So technically a little bit more Pluto Neptune, which again, the Angel of Dreams is here. So checks out makes sense. But I would include Uranus because why not? Sun splendor, generosity, health, and abundance. We have generosity here, and then it mentioned it's a time of generation in their spring. Generosity and generation. So it's a time of generation and then a time to be generous with what is generated. Like spreading seeds. That's what spring is all about. Revel in the glory of splendor solis. There are several cards in the alchemy deck that relate to the sun, yet this card specifically depicts the long-term effects of its radiance. Think abundance, fulfillment, and altruism. Envision celebration and collaboration. But is it possible in our complex world? The sun splendor says yes, one day and one ray at a time. When Splendor Solis arrives in the laboratory, the alchemist realizes that kindness and generosity are the secret ingredients. All other paths fall away. Through giving back to others and the world, we become more like the sun itself, radiant, light, and expecting nothing in return. Don't know where to start? Thank someone, then thank another person. Soon the alchemist finds they are not alone in their laboratory, and miracles arrive, both small and large. It mentioned kindness. This is the acolyte of Bahamut all day. The acolyte of Bahamut appeared. I'll just read it. It brings it to mind immediately. Because Pluto is power. Pluto. Well, let me find it. I've got a whole deck of cards here now. I gotta use the restroom. I gotta go potty. Okay. I'm gonna leave this here. I'll be right back. I am not making any messes. All right, I'm back. Still looking for this acolyte of Bahamut. The Volder and Ambusher. Is this a random vampire? Yeah, this is that random vampire archer that just showed up. I was like, where do you come from? Oh, that's not the one I want. There we go. I love when my hair is like, what? Because it's just like it moves. Anyway, it's fine. I'm trying to find it. This is the Acolyte of Bahamut all day. Sucking on a clock now. The Acolyte of Bahamut. You were on a wayward path until Bahamut showed you that power and kindness can unite beneath the same banner. There's the flavor text. And it's shiny and holographic. Power and kindness can unite under the same banner. Now that's something, it is what it is. I feel like that's a great way to temper Aimnir. It's almost like the energy of power and kindness uniting under the same banner makes Aimnir almost like foolproof. And it's also interesting because in the question of power, like why do we seek power and what do we plan on doing with it? And how I talked about sometimes we can be a little short sighted. We can seek things and apply them in an immediate context that has a long game that's very like not what we want. We think we do something now. It's like we do something now for an immediate fix, not realizing what it can do in the long term. But here's Splendor Solace here. But also there was spring. Using that power to break free, to burst through the soil, and to pursue the light. Rather than using that power to compete in arenas of darkness. Rather than like same old, yeah. Cool. Final card time. Final card time. I guess the truth is, like Spring said, Earth is turning in a new way. I guess it is interesting though, because the Angel of Taurus has maybe that's it too. Maybe we can be shadow side of Taurus so stubborn that even though the world is spinning, even though the Earth is spinning in a direction of newness, of spring, of an emergence from the dark work of winter, we in our personal lives can resist it. If we are grounded in the past, grounded in pain, grounded in the winter, grounded in whatever we're grounded in, we can actively resist whatever changes are happening collectively in our own lives. Like there are people all over the world who are living days, years, months, decades, centuries back. It's part of our free will. We can choose a life that is not progressive if we want. You know? We are given that right. Was that Chazakiel? It is the second angel of the mist. That was the other Semyaza too. Oh, then there's the first Semyaza. Was it the Angel of Visions and the Angel of the Waning Moon? No, it wasn't. I'm gonna get a final card from the Dungeons and Dragons, from my Magic the Gathering cards as well. I'm gonna get a final card from the Yggdrasil Norse Divination Tarot first. I don't know if it's Tarot. Yggdrasil Norse Divination deck. Norse Divination cards from Lady Yggdrasil. Nethal, Darkness and Fog, Sinmara, Nightmare. Oof. All right, final. Oop. This is a lot. This is 4 cards. I'll read them, but I'm not taking them. Or maybe I am taking them. I am. We're taking them. What's the point of reading them? It's not like I'm going to read all of these, so I'm going to read them and take them. Money, unresolved emotions. This money, unresolved emotions, it harkens back to the thinking woman yesterday. And the Three of Swords that we saw, I didn't even catch that. The Three of Swords came out in the Fable Maker's Tarot. But I see the Three of Swords all the time in the SKT. It's Isis. And I'm always like, here she is again. Unresolved emotions, money. And then we have judgment and final decision. Now, yesterday, judgment, every time judgment came out, it had an energy of like the judgment calls that we make. We make a judgment, we make a choice, we make a decision. And then something happens as a result of that. And it's final decision. These 2 cards right next to each other are dangerous. Four, 5, 4, 7. We have the 5th of the 4th realm and the 4th of the 7th realm. But these are dangerous. Like to have unresolved emotions and make a final decision on something. Now, we saw, whenever we saw it, it was the Ten of Swords, the Six of Wands, and the Moon. The Destroyer, the Champion, and the Necromancer, and the SKT Revelations Edition. And it's like we had an opportunity to work through something, we had an opportunity to overcome it, and then our heart was weighed against the scale. Like I think we're given opportunities to reach some kind of to resolve. We're at the very least given opportunities to acknowledge where we have feelings and emotions that are unresolved. If we can acknowledge that we have unresolved feelings or emotions, maybe we can make a choice or decision that betrays those unresolved feelings. Meaning, maybe we can make a choice or decision that isn't based solely in those unresolved feelings. Maybe something can be unresolved, but still not be a hindrance because of us. Maybe we can go, I feel this type of way in this situation because of this. And I can recognize that me continuing to feel this way and acting upon these feelings isn't going to bring me anything that I want or desire. So right now, I'm going to betray these feelings and I'm going to make the choice and decision that gets me where I want to go. So it's almost like one of those head over heart types of moments where it's actually beneficial to be head over heart, because if we were to remain in our heart, there's something about what is unresolved within the self that wouldn't allow us to, purely based upon feelings, make the correct choice. And it's the correct choice because after we make this final decision, we have to live with the outcome. If we make a choice or decision and we don't like the outcome, I mean, like, there's no judgment. It's still not incorrect, but, at the same time. After that, though, is fairness and judgment. Fairness and judgment. So we have our personal judgment, and then we have almost like this divine, like we make judgments below. And then as below, so above. So there are the things that are happening as above, so below. The earth is spinning in a new direction, so there are a lot of things that are possible to change, but we can resist those above changes. And then as below, so above. The above can resist, I guess, too. But it feels like a lot of the power is with us, especially here. This is us making a decision below that is acknowledged above, and then things move accordingly. Again, we can betray our own feelings and make a choice that's better. We can carry unresolved things. We can be imperfect and still be capable of making good choices and decisions. Like that would be like someone that's like, personally, I don't like this person, but I understand that they have a certain set of skills that makes them very good at this. And because I want this to succeed, even though I don't necessarily like them, I'm going to bring them into the team. Now, when we're at work, we can keep it professional and we just ain't got to hang out outside of work. We ain't got to talk about all the other stuff. You do your job, I do my job, and then we all succeed. Right? It doesn't have to be let's be like, oh, we have to be best friends, or you know what I mean? And it's for the greater benefit of all. It doesn't necessarily have to be that extreme. I'm just trying to give more examples of like not allowing our unresolved feelings to make our choices and decisions. Where we can choose to align, we can choose to make decisions that align with those unresolved feelings, or we can choose to make decisions that don't. Judgment and final decision, and then fairness and judgment. And then after that, we get messenger of the gods, which is Gana or Na, which is, girl, I don't know what that is. Maybe, so this is the as below. Judgment and final decision. Fairness and judgment. Fairness and final decision. This is the as below, so above. And then the messenger of the gods comes to as above, so below. And it's like, this is the thing that we manifested. Bottom of the deck is frosty, mindfulness, lightness, and impermanence. I love that mindfulness and lightness. The 9th of the 4th realm. So that's the same realm as judgment and final decision. Hero King. Cool. I'm gonna get my hair retwisted soon. I can't believe that's still in there. I mean, I guess I can. That happened when I was in India. I took the rest of my hair down, but left the 2 twists in the front, and it's fine. There we go. Next, just for funsies, I'm going to get a Final Magic the Gathering card. Just because I rifled through it. Miracle's Edict. We have, so the Acolyte of Bahamut is at the bottom because I put it there, or the top because I put it there after I found it. And then we have Miracle's Edict. That would be a case where we exercise our own internal authority. But anyway, final, or just a card, I guess, because I kind of sort of use it. from the Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering cards, plus the Midnight Hunt, Innistrad, whatever, from the Magic the Gathering cards. Final card, please. And you gotta. There we go. Well, this one flipped over. Oh, two flipped over. Chain Devil flipped over and Chandra Nalar flipped over. When Chain Devil enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a non-token creature. That's the animate chains effect. To these fiends, there's no symphony more beautiful than the melodies of rattling chains and ripping flesh. And then we have the Planeswalker Chandra Nalar. Are Planeswalkers creatures? No. Chandra Nalar isn't a creature. Chandra Nalar is a Planeswalker. See, the creatures say creature. Creature. Dragon Warrior. Oh, not the Dragon Warrior. Oh, not that one. Even the Chain Devil is a devil creature. The Planeswalker is a Planeswalker. The chains of this Chain Devil have no effect on Chandra Nalar. Bottom of the deck is the Lantern of Revealing. Love it. Love it. This is one of my favorite cards. The Lantern of Revealing. It reveals things. I feel like it's almost what someone does. Not someone meaning like a person. It's almost like there's a truth that's revealed that is very circumstantial, and it feels like it's one that's impossible to try to explain away. Right. Like if the Chain Devil makes a move against Chandra Nalar, then it's almost like something would be revealed. Now, it's not going to work on Chandra Nalar because Chandra Nalar is a Planeswalker and not a creature. But it's almost like it's easy for the Chain Devil to hide or deceive its truth, except for when it like doesn't apply. It's like, oh, okay. So we see what's really going on. All right. You're just in it for the misery of people. Got it. Angel of Anger. The Angel of Anger was in my mind. Not the image of it, but just like, and it didn't come out until it was at the cut right there. Final Angelarium, Year 2 Angel. Final Angelarium, Year 2 Angel, please. I'll keep shuffling. I'll keep shuffling until something comes out. I'll keep shuffling. Just keep shuffling. Something just made some noise. It looked like it might have been Rahab of the Deep because I saw the card. I'm shuffling it like this. So I saw the front, but it flipped right back over. So I didn't pull it. Just gotta keep shuffling, even if it takes me 10 minutes. Remnant Angel of Time. I love this for the Lantern of Revealing. The flame that cracks its skin is the same as the fire from within, an alabaster form folded like the steel of a sword, always pressing onward, the sharp beat of its heels, grinding the past into dust. Grinding the past into dust, the Angel of Time. Why I love that. The flame that cracks its skin is the same as the fire from within. Not only do we have fire in Chandra Nalar. Oh, look, they both have hot hands. hot hands, or at least one hand. But it's because of the lantern of revealing at the bottom. It's that like that light, that source of its power, like you see that. The lantern of revealing. Bottom of the deck is Muriel, the angel of Cancer. Top of the deck is Asmodel, angel of Taurus. Bottom is Muriel. I don't know what is going on with Cancer. I guess I don't necessarily care enough to really look into it. I haven't been like, what's going on in Cancer? But I am, it has come up enough where I am at least curious. Yeah. Maybe we just live life and find out. Maybe Cancer season will be the revealer of what happens in Cancer. Maybe Cancer is when we shift into the new moons first. Or maybe it's after Cancer. Maybe that's what I was looking for the other day. All right, and then modern on archetypes. Mortifactio again at the cut. And then Chaos, Massa Confusa. I don't know if I've seen Massa Confusa in this deck. I don't think I've seen Chaos and Mortifactio. Wait. Ooh, okay. Rosa Orium. The Golden Rose. What? I don't think I've seen this card either. Yeah, I have. Dot Rosamel Opibus. I've seen this before because I remember looking it up. And then under that is Phlox Sapientum, the red and white rose. Yeah, two roses. Dot Rosa Mel Opibus. Maybe I haven't seen this one because they both have the same saying. 58 and 59. This one I know I've seen before. I don't know if I've seen the Golden Rose. Phlox Sapientum? I feel like Sapientum is like, I feel like this is the flower of wisdom. Phlox Sapientum. The Golden Rose and the red and white rose. Interesting. Bottom of the deck is Separation, Separatio, number 70. 58, 59, and 70. This is interesting. So separation and conjunction. Under separation is conjunction. And then under that is the great work. Conjunction and separation. Conjunctio and separatio. 70 and 71. Now, I was going to say, this is interesting. I feel like, yeah, you can see it. Because the doves are flying in separate directions. But then when I picked it up, I noticed, I don't know if this is giving me a similar energy to that of Adjacent Possibilities that came out yesterday or the day before. Because they're right next to each other. Separation, conjunction, and the great work. Magnum opus is under this. And you see 3 buds with gold in them. Oops. Let's just read from the book. Oh, there's 53 Splendor Solis. Rosa Aureum, the golden rose, the secret, the altar, the gem. The rose has long been used as a symbolic image for the summation of alchemy, the outer petals representing the first 7 planets in operations, while the inner petals protect the revelations from unwelcome eyes. But what exactly resides at the center of the golden rose? Alchemy tells us it's a secret, and it's meant to be kept as such. The rose spirals both inward and outward simultaneously. It offers beauty to the onlooker while concealing its inner chambers. This is the complex nature of the golden rose. It challenges the alchemist to reorient their thinking, to devote their work to honoring the secret rather than attempting to become the master of it. Kneel at the altar of the unknown. Cherish the golden rose as it is a model of the self. More will be revealed. That line, it challenges the alchemist to reorient their thinking, to devote their work to honoring the secret rather than attempting to become the master of it. That reads like Azazel. It's like they do it not for the purpose of destruction, but to honor whatever. It was that line when it talked about it's not for the purpose of destruction, it's for the purpose of honoring. So to devote their work to honoring the secret rather than attempting to become the master of it. And Pluto power did come out with that. And I did get some kind of something with both something conjuncting and separating. Like conjunction is the coming together, and then separation is the moving apart. Flos sapientum, the red and white rose, vital force arising and awakening. In the laboratory, the merging of red and white is an exquisite moment. It means something is coming to life before the alchemist's eyes. The pristine white of the rose is not threatened by the blood red pigment. Their mixing does not make pink. Rather, each color remains vibrantly itself, expressing its message. Like the red of Asclepius, representing health and vitality, the Flos sapientum appears to signify the awakening of the physical as a gateway to the spiritual. Without the body, spiritual teachings remain conceptual, not yet integrated into the everyday. This card encourages the alchemist to honor the body as a temple each and every day, observing it, listening to it, mining it for information and guidance. At its height, this card signifies a mastery, a uniting of body to serve the soul's purpose, as seen in the like of dancers, athletes, and during the birthing process. It was before that. There was something in here that stood out to me. Oh, wisdom. Flos sapientum. Wisdom. I'm pretty sure sapientum is like of wisdom. Or it could be like the wise or wisdom. It could be wisdom or let's just Google umio sapientum. How did what? 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 Why are we talking about bananas? Where did this come from? Sapien, sapientis. Hold up. Not as a fruit. Sapientum meaning. A sensible, shrewd, knowing, discreet, or judicious person. A grammatical dictionary of botanical Latin. Sapiens. The scientific name for banana is Musa sapientum, which means fruit of the wise men. So, of the wise, sapientum. Why is the banana the fruit of the wise? Since when? Musa paradisiaca sapientum? No, I saw the Massa Confusa. It's not Musa, but why? Why? Hey, thank you. Virgo this month, I haven't done that yet. I don't know if I'll do specific signs, but I haven't done Taurus season specifically. I guess kind of, sort of. I don't know. Virgo didn't, I mean, the Lantern of Revealing is here. Virgonian energy came out in a way of the opposite of Pisces, and Taurus being the favorable middle point to make that transition. But nothing for Virgo specifically, not yet. I've been thinking about doing all signs, but then I'm like, oof, all signs what? Yeah, I'm sorry. But I'm sure, like, hopefully you find something of resonance out there. I know there are a lot of people who read for signs. Oh, I'm like, hold on. I thought I saw one of my friends is. Oh, so the wisdom in Flos Sapientum. There was the wisdom in power. There was also, because I was like, I hear like with great power comes great responsibility, but there aren't many sayings about the wisdom that it requires to utilize great power in I don't even know the word, in a moral, ethical way. The wisdom to use great power in a non-trespassing way. But here's the flower of the wise, Flos sapientum, with the golden rose. And we did have spring that came out last. The blossoming and spring, the hatching of the egg. And it's interesting that the golden rose basically told us not to seek mastery, but the red and white rose is a rose of mastery. But it can't be sought. I'll read Separatio at the bottom of the deck. LXX. Separatio. That's rotatio. Differentiation, divide, and to cut away. Separatio is the great alchemical operation of the sword. Something mentioned the sword. Was it 53? No. I mean, the other ones were what, 19, 14. Not 19, 14, 10, and 17. Was it 17? No, I don't think it was spring. Something mentioned a sword, did it not? It did. I remember reading it. Was it one of the angels? Was it one of the angels? You just swore. I guess it had to be one of the angels because these are all the. Anyway, separatio is a great alchemical operation of the sword. It occurs when substances are pulled apart for their higher good, either willingly or unwillingly. The fissure may take place suddenly with a swift blow of the axe, or slowly over time with a dull blade. Slowly over time with a dull blade is 14 temperance. It's still a 5, but it's not like super quick. No matter how separatio occurs, it will likely be a painful process for all involved. Images of swords and knives, battles, rebellion, breakups, divorce, and atom splitting are expressions of separatio. The good news is that separation prepares the individual for a more conscious union down the line. It releases stagnant energy and allows the parts to see themselves as individuals. This staging is a prerequisite for conjunctio. Through the pain of separation, we come to accept and love ourselves as we truly are, and in turn, we love the world. So this is a prerequisite for conjunctio, but I mean, I guess it did come out first. It's like immediately right behind it. Love, divine union, and infinity. Oop, 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 oop. Oop, 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 oop. See those two together, separation and conjunction. She's giving line dancing, right? Or kind of like ballroom, but like when you switch partners, because like you separate from one partner, but then you immediately like join with the other. There we go. Interesting. Interesting. Very, very interesting. That was Angels and Alchemy, I guess. For what purpose do you seek this power? And what will you do with it? What do you plan on doing with it? All right. I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. That's what I say, right? I hope that whatever you need along your path journey, where you find. And to those who stop by, thanks. For those who catch it later, thanks, I guess. And I will see y'all next time I see you. Probably to do the more traditional. It's already been 2 hours. Sun transiting Taurus. Excuse me. Bye.